Alright, so let's jump right into Parthia then. There isn't too much to say about Parthia. They were out when Rome 2 came out. They were the only Eastern faction because the Seleucids and Bactria weren't out yet. Parthia is really known for one thing, and that's the cataphracts. They have 3 cataphract units, one of which was actually supposed to go to Pontus, but was taken out and then put back in as a DLC, unfortunately. Eastern cataphracts are a unit that is shared by Parthia and Armenia. They basically serve the same purpose as Hellenic cataphracts and Royal cataphracts. It's just that they have less armor and I think less melee attack. Parthia's core unit is similar to the Doric swordsmen, but better defensively. They also have access to Persian hoplites, which is really nice. So Parthia has access to elephants, but you will have problems if you're going up against a faction that brings a lot of anti-elephant units, such as Thera's spears. Peltasts also fall under this category. Without cataphracts, relying on your best cav unit is a bad idea against Pontus or Bactria, who have better heavy cav. Although their horse archers are great, they aren't as great as the nomads. Cimmeria therefore presents a big problem for them. So to summarize, cataphracts are the way to go with this faction. You don't have the best of infantry, but the infantry can mop up the remnants of what the cataphracts don't kill. They can also be used for rear charges to really hurt your enemy. Having missile superiority might be a good idea against some factions. Give Parthia a try. You may or may not like their one-sided gameplay, but they are your basic Eastern faction. In my opinion, the Parthians beat Bactria, but there's a possibility that I'm wrong, but they lose to Cimmeria. What does your typical Parthian army look like? Most of the times you'll see people just bring like a bunch of cavalry, and that doesn't work for the Parthians because they're not nomadic. Basically, you'll see either Eastern cataphracts or Royal cataphracts, usually not more than 3, but some people are really edgy and think that spamming Royal cataphracts is such a good idea. Cataphracts can be taken down the same way that elephants can be taken down, so all you have to do is get them stuck in a spear unit and then throw some javelins at them or arrows, depending on which faction you play as, and that's it really. Melee cav wise, they have the Noble Blood cav, which is a fairly sturdy unit. Not the best in my opinion, but it's fairly good. Median cav are pretty good. These are the best medium mid-tier cav that the Seleucids can bring, so it might be a good idea to bring Noble Blood cav when you're fighting the Seleucids. Just a little pro tip. Missile cavalry, you have a very wide choice. Parthian horse archers might be the way to go most of the times, but usually I bring armored horse archers because they have slightly more armor and they have better melee stats. Noble horse archers is a stretch. If you want to bring them, you can. Just make sure that most of your that you use these guys effectively. Use them against. Don't use them against massed foot infantry. Use them more against like other horse archers. They are very slow, and they used to be super heavy, but they aren't anymore. They still have the cataphract armor, however. Elephants, you have your elephants right here. Like I said, you don't really rely on elephants so much. You rely more on cataphracts. Funnily enough, I don't ever use Sarmatian lancers, even though they can be quite useful for hammer and anvil tactics. Missile infantry, pretty good. Forgot about them. Persian archers are usually useful as second line infantry. They can fire behind your Parthian swordsmen, but that's about it. Using these guys in the front of your army is very bad because they don't have the armor that Peltasts do. And I mean, it's the same thing for Parthian foot archers. You'd rather have armored archers in your front line so that they can tank a lot of damage. But again, that's just me. Typically, when I'm playing as Parthia, I bring 4 or 5 Parthian swordsmen. I may bring a few hoplites depending on whether or not the faction that I'm going up against has chariots or elephants. Usually I don't even bring elite Persian archers. I'll just rely on Parthian foot archers And then I bring Eastern Cataphracts. I almost never bring Camel Cataphracts because it's not worth it. Whenever I bring Eastern Cataphracts, I usually bring 2. And then when it comes to cavalry, I'll bring like 3 or 4. Usually I bring like 3 because I don't want to overspend in cavalry. But again, you rely mostly on your cataphracts. Parthia is very one-sided on that. If I like have enough money, like I said, I don't want to bring too many noble blood calves, so I'll bring like armored horse archers. Sometimes I'll bring noble horse archers, just depending on how much money I have left over and if they really are necessary. Because that's what's so important about Rome 2, you know, and the army selection. You have to make sure that you pick the right units and that they're cost effective. If you bring a unit that isn't cost effective and you lose, chances are that you shouldn't have brought them in the first place or you used them incorrectly. So this is what my typical Parthian army looks like. In 10 seconds I'm going to go right to the next faction.